In this second part of the How to Detect BS, our focus will be on how to understand the author's message. Sometimes we experience intense disagreement during our conversations with one another. This could be due to the meaning we attribute to what someone says instead of listening to what our conversation partner actually wants to express to us. The same thing may happen when you're reading a book. If you don't take the time to check the meaning of the words, you may misunderstand the message the author wanted to transmit to you. Thus, you'll be in a better position to assess the quality of his or her book. By doing an outline that includes keywords, sentences, and paragraphs, we can find the thoughts of an author. More precisely, the meaning behind the text. As you can see on this slide, each structural unit of a book has a corresponding unit of thought. We'll talk about each unit of thought in this presentation, which are in the red rectangle. Lastly, we will talk briefly about the questions asked to assess whether the author fulfilled the promises he made on the book cover. The first unit of thought is called term. Terms are meaning behind words. There can be several terms associated with one word. Take for instance the verb lead, which can have 3 different meanings. We can find terms by discovering keywords in the text. Most of the time, keywords are words you don't understand. Keywords can also be in quotation marks or italic. They can be special vocabulary from different fields of science or even religion. A word can be considered important when the author takes the time to define it. Important words are also present in headings, titles, and a table of content. Interpretation of key terms relies on the use of a good dictionary and paying attention to the other words surrounding the keyword. The second unit of thought we'll be discussing are propositions. Propositions are contained in a sentence. They're claims about how things are. They are considered an opinion if they're not backed by evidence. Sentences, just like words, can have different meanings when words are not used clearly. In order to find propositions in a book, one must locate the important sentences. The author's important sentences will be those in which he or she makes an assertion, denial, or states reason for his or her positions. Keywords will also guide you towards discovering important sentences. One can discover the meaning of a sentence by saying it in his or her words. The third unit of thought of a book are arguments. Arguments are a collection of propositions that lead to a reasoning. They can be located in a long complex sentence or a paragraph. They can also be expressed over several paragraphs. Usually, key arguments are located in the summary at the end of the chapter. Investigative reading will help you do that quickly, but it can be hard sometimes to find key arguments due to bad writing. We can dig them out by gathering connected sentences that have a united message. Observing what the author states as fact, what he or she can prove, and the way he or she goes about proving something may help us locate arguments. When we locate key arguments along with their associated propositions, we're in a better position to assess the author's claims. We do not want to make any rush judgments that the author is not giving the information we need. The following questions will help us in the process. Which of the promises made by the author were fulfilled? And which of the promises the author didn't fulfill? To conclude, outlining a book's structural elements and finding their associated units of thoughts helps us to make a fair assessment of whether an author is providing information that supports his or her selling points before we put what we learned from the book into application. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation. If you have any comments or questions, please write them below. And if you like this presentation, please subscribe to be aware of the next video that will be published on this topic. Thank you so much and have a great week.